Hi, I'm Greg.
And I'm Mary, and this is Greg and Mary's RV Adventures.
And look who's here.
Back.
It's Al.
Al came back. The boys are so happy to see Al.
Yeah. Now, Al, if you're going to leave again, let us know, okay, so we don't worry about you. For those new to the channel, welcome. And you might think it's kind of strange me wearing a tassel cap, but I got a haircut last week and I'm still getting used to my short hair, and it's chilly here. Today's video is about us going. What are you laughing about?
Your tassel cap.
What? I don't want to be comfortable. Today's video is us going to the Will Rogers Museum in Claremore, Oklahoma. And we spent one night there. It was a Harvest Host. And after that, we went on to the Indigo Sky Casino and spent 3 nights there.
Our friends from Mesquite, Nevada, told us about the Will Rogers Museum, so we wanted to make sure we stopped. They said you won't be disappointed if you stop there, and boy, were they right. Yeah. It is one of the better museums. Now, Will Rogers, I knew of his name, and I'm a big Western fan. I knew of his name, but I never really knew much about him. But boy, he sure led a full life.
He died in 1935, a tragic death. People our age, I didn't know anything about him. He was talented in so many ways. He touched so many people. He was a great man. We could use a man like that in the country today, for sure. So stay tuned at the end.
Yeah, I'm not doing the Farmer's Almanac tip of the week anymore. We have a new thing that we're going to do, and starting this video. Mm-hmm. And Greg's going to be doing it. We're doing it jointly this time.
Yes, we are.
We're going to do it together. Hopefully you'll stick around and see what the new item is that we're going to do, and hope you enjoy this video.
Yep. See you on the flip side. We left Edmond, Oklahoma on I-44 heading east to our Harvest Host location, which is in Claremore, Oklahoma. The road along the way was pretty decent. There was some slight wind, but nothing like we encountered on other drives. As we continued on I-44, we got close to Tulsa, Oklahoma, had to stay on I-44 east to Claremore. We ended up getting off at exit 238 and taking Oklahoma 66 up to our Harvest Host location. Harvest Host locations very seldom have any hookups. We had no hookups here. They had spaces for 3 RVs. We were the only one there. Once we got the RV leveled, we went into the museum. We arrived at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the museum closed at 5, so we only had a short time to go through the museum. By the way, the staff at the museum were very friendly and very helpful. Thumbs up to them.
Will Rogers was born on November 4th, 1879. He was an American vaudeville performer, actor, and humorous social commentator. He was born as a citizen of the Cherokee Nation in the Indian Territory and is known as Oklahoma's favorite son. As an entertainer and humorist, he traveled around the world 3 times, made 71 films, and wrote more than 4,000 nationally syndicated newspaper columns. By the mid-1930s, Rogers was hugely popular in the United States for his leading political wit and was the highest paid of Hollywood film stars. He died in 1935 with aviator Wiley Post when their small airplane crashed in northern Alaska.
Will loved horses and riding horses. As he traveled around the world, he started collecting horse saddles from the various locations he visited. These are just a few of the saddles that he obtained. Many were very decorative.
During Hollywood's early racing era, scandals, divorces, and love trials among actors were common headlines. Superstar Will Rogers remained the faithful husband, adored father, and dedicated family man at home on the ranch. The museum also had an area where it was full of dioramas, and it was a view of the different aspects of Will Rogers' life. That was pretty interesting to see all the little miniature dioramas.
Will Rogers and his good friend Wiley Post, the pilot, took off from Point Barrow. The plane barely reached 200 feet when it turned over, rolled over, and crashed into 4 foot of water. Both were killed. We stayed on I-44 till exit 302, where we exited and picked up Oklahoma 60 to the casino. It was a 2-lane road, a little windy, but pretty decent. Arriving at the Indigo Sky Casino. Watch out for that white vehicle, Greg. Ah!
Yikes, that was close.
This casino has an RV park. You have water and electric, $15 a night. So we spent 3 nights here. Rural level, everything was paved.
Something unexpected happened at the casino. We left with more money than we came with. Maybe rubbing Will Rogers' boots had something to do with it. It's time for our new segment. We're going to start talking and doing some quotes from Will Rogers. The book is The Quotable Will Rogers. I'm going to read a little bit out of this, and then Greg will join us, and we'll continue on. Alive, Will Rogers was phenomenally successful. Longer than he lived, Will Rogers remained Americana personified. He wrote 6 books during his 55 years. But following his 1935 death, more than 235 titles had been written about him. Will Rogers starred in 71 motion pictures. 15 years following his death, his own saga, The Story of Will Rogers, became a major cinema hit. During the 1920s, Will Rogers was a comic in New York's glittery Ziegfeld Follies. 70 years later, his life was set to music on Broadway, where the Will Rogers Follies, A Life in Review, won 6 Tony Awards. During 2 decades as a syndicated columnist, he wrote 4,000 articles that were widely quoted at the time. Over the next 7 decades, scores of columnists regularly quoted his savvy notions, ideas, and cowboy humor. And that's what Greg and I are going to share with you every week, some of Will Rogers' famous quotes. It's time for the new feature of the week, The Quotable Will Rogers. Will Rogers celebrates the life and career of one of America's most beloved entertainers. Dubbed the cowboy philosopher, Will's straight-talking, wisecracking, witty political commentary and social musings endeared him to kings and commoners alike.
Show the book, dear.
So here's the book.
Quotable Will Rogers. All right, man. What's your first one today?
So one of his famous ones, most famous ones, and one of my favorite ones was his, and I'll quote this, "I never met a man I didn't like." And he even provided an epigram on this famous epigram. "When I die, my epitaph, or whatever you call those signs on a gravestone, is going to read, 'I joked about every prominent man of my time, but I never met a man I didn't like.' I am so proud of that I can hardly wait to die so it can be carved on my gravestone."
He was a humorist. Now mine is from everyday life, and it reads, "All we hear is, 'What's the matter with the country?' or 'What's the matter with the world?' There ain't but one thing wrong with every one of us in the world, and that's selfishness." So that's a couple quotes from Will Rogers this week. Hope you enjoy it. I would advise you, it's a small book. Even guys like I could read this. It'd probably take me about a month, but I could read it. But it's a small, good book and lots of information. So hope you enjoyed this
new feature. Let us know in the comments below.
Please, yeah.
If you enjoyed it or not.
See, I'm going bald.
Short hair.
Short hair. Chilly. Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Or listening, I guess.
Yeah, and watching.
And watching.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As you can tell, we don't rehearse these, so.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.